My mom told me not to talk to strangers on the internet, but I'm glad I didn't listen. We are the Certified Noonas, your sisters in the love of Asian entertainment.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
I'm Jessie.
I'm Natalia.
And I'm Sky.
And we're taking a bit of like a divulging from our usual fare today. Because listen, we're not immune to trends, okay? We're not immune to like what the people are into. We're on the internet. We see,
I'm on TikTok. I know.
We see the reels or whatever YouTube shorts. We know what the people are into. And so this week, we're going to be talking boy aquariums, specifically 2 boy aquariums. That is, we are going to be discussing the Canadian show Heated Rivalry, but we will also be talking about a real fave of some of ours, the anime Yuri on Ice. Rip to ice fantasy. Maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Keep hoping.
And that's basically, we're just going to talk about them because they do have some fun little parallels that I'm sure if you are on the TikToks or whatnot, you have seen the jokes, you know? Yep. And we're just like, hey, let's just like for the first time ever go with like a trending topic.
Actually watch something.
I don't think we ever really have just gone with the
No,
trend.
I mean like
It's
sometimes
like,
maybe we're talking about like the most popular like Kate that's out, but like still when you think
it's
of
like
grander,
like
maybe Rivalry is like this. And so like Yuri is also like this more than like most shows we'd even talk about too. So
like normally we go with what's trending between the 4 of us to talk about.
What are we going to watch?
Are you going to be able to watch large enough
or we
sample
guess.
size?
We're like, this is coming out. I bet people will be into that. And then sometimes you folks are not into
sometimes
that.
they are, but a lot of the times it's just us.
Yeah.
You know, we're just vibing.
Listen, we're just
Or
trying.
we'll do it,
It's really hard to come up
late.
with episode topics.
We'll come in like 2 years after to be like, oh, by the way, we're here to talk about Strangers from Hell for some reason, even though it came out like 5 years ago. Like, but you know, we wanted to be on top of the wave for the first time. And so that's what we're gonna talk about. Also, this may also be of special interest to friend of the show.
I
Katie,
think like
long-term
a lot
supporter.
of friends of the show probably have
I know
this as a special
specifically
interest.
one friend of the show really wanted to hear our thoughts on this topic.
Okay.
And that is our good friend and supporter, Katie.
Well, specifically on Heated Rivalry? Or like,
it's become her comfort. Like
she's really she got deep into it.
Like before.
Yeah. I don't know if she's seen Yuri on Ice. I've never asked.
You should.
That seems like something she would have watched. Yeah. But I do know a lot of other friends of the show really like Yuri on Ice, so I think this is, we're
picking up all of our friends.
All of everybody. We're just going to sort of like freeform it and talk about, these 2 things. And what we like about them, what we
I will say,
interesting.
I will preface with, I'm the latest comer to Yuri on Ice as of like, I think just this past month. I finally pressed play on it for the first time, just randomly.
Before we even decided to do this episode, on it.
Before we even did it, like, I did make a pact for myself, and I'll preface, I knew that Heated Rivalry had nothing to do with Yuri on Ice. However,
it doesn't.
In my little noggin, I was like, I must watch Yuri on Ice first. Like, just in my head.
Something said.
Listen, for a really long time on TikTok, all I got was Heated Rivalry, Yuri on Ice stuff. And also Twice. Twice was a really big thing for and that was it.
Cleanser.
And I was like, you know what we should do? Based on my small data inquiries on TikTok, I think these 2 would be really great together.
It was like, we decided, we'll do this. And then I was like, opened up my Instagram after the discussion and got started getting all these okay,
Listen,
we're gonna have
when
a big kiss scene over
I
dropped
never
with,
watched a single episode.
History Maker or whatever, and it was like,
yes. Story. So for anyone who hasn't seen either, which would be very confusing as to you clicking play on this, but you know what? Go off, Queen, King, Monarch. The reason that people are drawing parallels is because the basic premise of both of these is a romance between a Russian and an Asian in ice sports. Yeah. Yuri on Ice being figure skating, Heated Rivalry being ice hockey. That's where pretty much every similarity kind of ends, because it's like the vibes wildly different. We're still having fun with this. So Heated Rivalry just came out. I forget when the first episode aired.
I think it just ended maybe at the very end of the year.
Yeah,
so it was a 2025 show.
Years or something.
Yeah, it's a Canadian show. Oh, Canada, baby! That was
streaming on HBO.
Yeah, streaming on HBO or Crave if you're in Canada, and is based on a novel written by a woman from Halifax. Where
November 28th was the release date in the U.S.
Okay,
that's all I know.
And it is about a bisexual Russian hockey player and a closeted gay Canadian hockey player. Who have a long-term DL relationship that nobody knows about that causes them a lot of emotional turmoil.
Yearning.
Oh, the yearning. And Yuri on Ice is a 2016 anime about a Japanese figure skater who's kind of lost his way in figure skating, but who attracts the eye of this Russian figure skating master who just then decides to just show up at his house and be like, I'm going to train you to be the best figure skater in the world. And then they fall in love. And meet a bunch of other kooky figure skater characters from all over the world during their skating competitions. Because, oh boy, does Yuri on Ice have some questionable characters in it. More so than Heated Rivalry.
Yuri on Ice,
these are just
focuses
characters.
on the characters a lot. Yeah. You get a lot of their backstory, because Yuri on Ice is centered, even though the premise is the love of the two, it really is about the love of figure skating. And how they've grown in that love since they've been competing.
I would say Yuri on Ice is a sports drama with a romance, whereas Heated Rivalry is very solidly a romance set on the
occasionally hockey shows up.
Occasionally there.
I was actually surprised by how little hockey content was in Heated Rivalry, because I was just I was expecting a little bit more hockey. Listen, I'm cool because I'm not super into hockey.
Talks about hockey more than you actually see any of them.
Says the main character's mom is also his manager, and she's really into hockey.
Yeah.
She loves hockey. She loves hockey more than I've seen someone love anything.
And that's saying something when you're talking about us and the way we handle our hockey.
That woman loves hockey. Now, I know Amanda has read the novel.
Yes.
I haven't read the novel or anything.
I have read the novel, but I haven't watched the series. I feel through all the clips and the fan edits and stuff, I've probably seen 2/3
you know
of the
what
series.
you're missing quite a bit, and the reason I say this is because a lot of Heated Rivalry hinges on incredibly quiet, almost silent moments of just expressions being passed between people, the yearning,
eye acting in this one.
Yeah.
I did find that with the scenes that I have seen and the parts that I have watched, a lot of it is scene for scene from the book. The dialogue is directly he took Rachel Reed's words right off of her pages, and just sometimes they're set into slightly different like locations or something,
yeah.
because he's making it a visual
Yeah,
medium. It's set up a little bit differently,
Mhm.
but like the actual words, exactly the same words that are in the book.
Mhm.
So,
And I find sort of like the backdrop of this show and it's like airing rather fascinating, because like nobody wanted it. Like HBO picked it up. It seems almost out of pity because they're like, who would want to watch an R-rated hockey romance show? The answer is everyone with eyes.
I mean,
it's wild,
especially like the book was so popular before the series was ever a thing. And I knew about the book. I'm not the target audience for these book series at all. And when I pick up on the amount of like love this book has, like I just don't get. Studio
it's because, and we're always saying this, executives dumb as hell, okay, especially male executives.
You think they want to make money, like I would just think that's just a dead giveaway, like
easy money too. This is not like a hard like show to produce. Like it wasn't like that expensive.
No.
And like, listen, the government of Canada said, hey, you're filming it in Canada, it's about a Canadian hockey player of all things. Have some money, because Canada's very generous with the arts grants and all the tax credits and stuff. They love people filming up here. And the amount of jokes that I've seen about people being like, happy to pay my tax bill this year, like Canada. Like, and it's just it being Canadian is really quite nice because it does have the energy of a lot of Canadian shows and films, which a lot of people who don't live in America and Canada may think that Canada and America are pretty much the same. We're here to tell you culturally very different, and it's hard to explain how in a lot of ways, but I feel like if you watch this show, you'll get a little bit of that. Because it feels like a Canadian show in a lot of ways. Also, they just went, full hog on TV, which is a very Canadian versus American thing to do.
It's funny, like before we started recording, Natalia was mentioning about how they did try and shop this to like other streamers who were all like, no kissing until like episode 5 or whatever. But like,
that's the whole point.
Sex is the story.
Yeah.
Like, it's a story about sexual awakening.
Have you realized it's like for everything, like, though?
It's
like not even a show that like even is pitched like as this like the maturity of this one. They would still like want nothing to happen until a certain time.
They want everything to be a slow burn.
But it doesn't make any sense to me because the slow burns only worked because of the structure of having multiple seasons. And if you're not going to have multiple seasons and you're going to have very few like episodes, then it doesn't matter. Like
no.
And you know what?
I mean, this story is not a slow burn. Like, they need to start banging. Like, it's not.
Yeah, in terms of, like, if you actually go by the years. It's like 10 years.
And, like, the emotions,
right?
Like, the emotional attachment
show,
burns kind of slow. But, like, you can't have them not kiss until episode 5.
That's crazy.
That makes any sense. 90% of the book out the window. Like, what are we doing?
The other thing that I love about this show, in terms of the sort of erotic, air quotes, content, is it's really proven those, I don't think there's any point to having sex scenes and things, people so wrong, because, like, so much, like, character development and plot development happens in the nude in this show.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, so it's almost like this being a human, like, activity with the human experience is important to also show in your entertainment.
My sister was like, okay, I'm getting on the bandwagon. I'm going to watch it. And we were talking about it afterwards. And she goes, she struggles to watch like sex scenes because she gets like secondhand embarrassment. Like, I shouldn't be watching these people. Like, she's like, I had to like turn my screen. She's like, normally I would fast forward through, but conversations were happening. Like, it was plot. And I had to like, so I just turned the screen so that I could like listen to the story.
Yeah, you definitely can't. I mean, if you skip it, you are missing out on like development.
Yeah.
I find it kind of funny by, how many butts were in this, because on Yuri on Ice, bringing it back to Yuri on Ice, the first introduction you get to Victor the Russian, it's Victor, right? I'm not.
Yes.
He's full hog nude in a hot spring, and it's like, Yuri, I'm here to be your coach, and he's just like cheeks up down. I was like, a little homage here between the two. We're just gonna do a little nude introduction in both of these. How fun! Fun.
I do think a fun aspect of Yuri on Ice is how much Yuri idolized Victor well before they met. Like, he always idolized him. He's what made him want to skate, all that stuff. So like that, and that carried through the entire show. So like I thought that was a nice theme.
Yeah.
And that's again, not exactly the same, but like is kind of mirrored in Heated Rivalry, in that these two players strive to be better players because of their rivalry. Like they are watching each other's career and like, oh, he got 2 goals tonight. Well, I'm going to have to get 3, you know, like it's very like they're very aware of each other's career, which is similar in Yuri on Ice. They're aware of each other's career.
I sort of felt that sort of this love of the sport thing was a little bit more developed in the sort of the second romance story that was in it with Scott, the character of Scott, who's like the captain of like the New York team. Because we go on, for one episode, we go on a little journey through his little gay romance. And it really sort of highlighted a problem that the NHL actually has, even though this isn't the NHL, because it's a legally distinct hockey none of these are all different. They're not NHL teams. But currently the NHL is one of the only sports that has absolutely no gay, like out gay players. Like there are no out gay players in the NHL. And
except for like just recently, I think
I think he retired. So I think it was like after he retired, he came out. And it's just like, that is actually a big problem.
Absolutely.
And so I felt that the second sort of romance plotline really highlighted the stakes that, these queer players are dealing with, because especially with this one character, sorry if minor spoilers, he doesn't have any family. His family died when he was young. So the only thing he has is hockey.
Yeah.
And so being gay could threaten the one thing that he has in his life. And that, I feel that was really highlighted very well in the show. Like I felt that there was a lot of empathy and like understanding, putting on like the struggles of this one guy who was apparently closeted, but let's be real, was not doing a very good job.
Really when he liked someone, he liked them.
Like, he was not unobvious, like, oh, he's waving at him at the stands during the game. Like, come on, bro.
I think what also was the difference between like the very stark difference between the two like love lines was that the main couple in Heated Rivalry did everything it was just them behind closed doors, and you rarely saw anybody else in their lives. Like you did not see them like really converse with anyone. And then you get to the second one and you finally get like actual characters that are outside of the like hockey thing, and they're like, they're interacting and all that stuff, which like made that like love line like a little bit more lively and a little bit more interesting, because you had other things. You weren't just focused on this romance. It's like the romance was part of it, but it was also like he was kind of like starting to develop this like life, like also outside because of the outside of things and going to do things outside of the team. Yeah, when like in the main plot line, it's like Shane's life revolved all around hockey and doing things for hockey. So he had his mom would get him like sponsorships and he had to do, so everything was involved in his,
job, and then he had his parents and his one friend who had all the kids. But like besides that, it's like that
was also a coworker. So there you
it
go.
was also a coworker. Like so, it was like everything revolved around hockey. Whereas but Ilya, the other guy, his life was hockey, but it was also dealing with an incredibly abusive, toxic family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who was basically just absolutely draining the life out of him and the money and everything.
Well, and like the fear of, of his country and the struggle, the added struggle that added into any conversations he had about coming out or anything, right?
Yeah. But he did also, unlike Shane, until about 2/3 through the thing, he did have a good friend who was aware of him being, because he's bisexual canonically in this. Svetlana, who is
Svetlana's amazing.
I love Svetlana. I think she was cool as hell.
She really was.
I was like, oh, who's hotter? Like Shane or Ilya? I'm like, Svetlana. Okay. Svetlana. I don't know why.
And they were so cool together too. They just had like so much fun together. Yeah. Like they were joking around and
I'll say Svetlana and Kip. There we go.
Yes.
Answer. Done.
Yeah.
Svetlana. His cute little face. There you go.
Yeah.
So I think like what I didn't sort of anticipate, as I haven't read the novel, when I went into watching Heated Rivalry, was the sort of air of sadness that like sort of exists over the entire series. And especially like the way people were talking about it, you wouldn't actually realize that there's like an overarching theme of just like how sad and desperate it is.
Yeah, it's definitely a mellow, like it's a mellow romance. It is not a rom-com.
Yeah, it has like the struggle. Right? Like people are like, oh, it's so sexy and hot. Yeah, sure, but it's also depressing. Like when you watch it, it's very sad.
When they're having the conversations closer to the end, where they're trying to figure out how do we make this work? Okay, well, in a year you can transfer to a Canadian team, and maybe you can get one that's close to me, and then we can keep meeting. But like Shane's thinking, I probably have another 10 years in me. Like they're like 25 at this point, and like. Hockey players, it's not unheard of to play until you're 40. So they're looking at 10 or 15 more years of hiding, and how exhausting that is. But like, we're going to make it work. And then when I'm 40, we can come out, we can retire and get married and come out and have children. And you're like,
that's sad.
It's sad.
Well, just like every aspect of their lives were like that too. So like even if they didn't have this like situation, like this like the relationship that they have to be so like behind doors about, they also had really hard time going out by themselves because everybody knew who they were. So they couldn't like freely do that. They were also like mostly living out of hotel rooms constantly. And they were constantly going to different like competitions. They were also like changing teams, and they were all doing like other like specialty things where they were like on different like teams. So it's like they were always constantly not like, there was never a time when you were like not like on the ice and practicing and stuff, even though we barely saw them on the ice. They still like
the showrunner really understood that the ice hockey was not actually the draw of this series. It's like, okay, we got to put a little bit in.
We're like, we've only got like 6 episodes, so we cannot use them on the ice until someone gets hurt. That's it.
Which is a vast difference between this and Yuri on Ice, because the ice was a big part of Yuri on Ice.
Not ice skating in Yuri.
Because Yuri on Ice is about romance, but it is about how beautiful figure skating is.
Man, I wonder what percentage of Yuri on Ice is like just like the performances of the various characters. Like it really is. It's a huge.
I feel like Yuri on Ice is like 80-20 sports. Off ice, on ice, off ice. And Heated Rivalry is almost the other. Like, it's almost like a 20-80. Like,
Yuri on Ice, just internal monologues. It's like most of the show.
Yeah. But it's internal monologues while figure like, performing. while doing the art of, because it really treats like Heated Rivalry, hockey is a sport. Okay, Yuri on Ice. Figure skating is an art form, you know, and I think it's a marked difference between the two.
It's what
vibes.
makes them like live. That's like how it is with Yuri, and like it connects to like people, and like just even like with Yuri, it like focuses on things like why this specific song is so important to like the person who's doing it, and how much they like how much they like can do this thing, or like, you know, they can like do this thing to make someone proud, or like just to like be free finally on the ice. And that's like what's really beautiful about Yuri on Ice. Like I know everybody loves the main couple, but I think what's like so beautiful about Yuri on Ice is how much it shows them, all of the skaters, just absolutely loving being on the ice and performing, and not like in a I need to perform for people way. I mean, like Yuri definitely performs for Victor, let's be honest. But like it's not like a popularity thing or anything. It's like they need to do that to feel like complete and happy with and content with life.
And even like the other Yuri is like, he's a little bit more like, no, I'm here for winning. I'm here for, you know, whatever. But his sort of plot line is like learning to remembering the love of the sport, and like falling back into that. Like,
and every time he was really bad, it was because he wasn't like caring.
He was in the wrong headspace, and it was about getting in the right headspace. And
whereas Heated Rivalry, hockey was the prison that they were all in together.
A prison, but then with the Scott plot line too, it was also his family. Like, since, like, so it was like a very having that plot line added a lot of depth, and
because of like having the like scholarships and stuff too. So it was like very tied to him being raised by hockey. Like, well, even like, you know, with the others who like have like parents who are like big into like hockey, he still was actually physically raised by the Association of Hockey.
And which actually made, because like there's a lot of ways, you know, you can look at, you know, the scene of, you know, him, you know, after he wins the cup, the legally distinct from the Stanley Cup, and he calls his boyfriend down because they were in a bit of a rocky position, like things were not going well for them, and he just said, "No, I've done it. I finally achieved my life's goal." So now I can actually go do my other life's goal, which is to live a normal life. And so he calls him down. And so you could say, oh, this is just like a cheesy rom-com moment. But I don't think it is at all. Like, is it an unrealistic movie moment? Sure.
Yeah, but we're also watching entertainment. It's gonna be.
But I think that the idea of it, of like this public declaration of this is who I love, and it has not affected me in hockey. It's just been something that hockey prevented me from telling you all. But now that I've achieved all of my hockey goals, I can finally be free and hopefully and go let the chips fall where they may. And I thought it was just really nicely done. Yeah. And then I really did enjoy immediately after that happened, them being like, I'm going to your cottage this summer. That's exactly, it's like
that's a nudge. They always need nudges.
You know, the first person to say, you can do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, like, it won't ruin your life to do this is so important to people in the closet. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Well, in the book, you get a lot of you get Scott's, like, his inner monologue while he's like skating around looking at all these people and like all of his teammates with their spouses and their kids. And he's like, I have nobody to celebrate with. And then he's like, I do have somebody to celebrate with. And I should be able to celebrate with the person that I share my life with. And, you know, and it's a great, like in the book, it was a good moment too. Like, you know.
Yeah. Sky, what were you going to say?
I don't know.
It was and then it was out. I hate when that happens.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I will say, I think that my favorite bit of Heated Rivalry was probably the last episode where they're just like chilling at the cottage, because there was one scene in it that I almost cried laughing. And it's the one where they're having that very heartfelt moment, like at the campfire, and then a loon goes and he's like, what the fuck was that? And I was like, this is the most realistic like person visits rural Canada for the first time I've ever seen.
I saw an interview with him, and they were asking him, like, was there, knowing what a big fandom that this book had and everything, was there any part that you were like, I have to get this right? And he's like, stupid Canadian wolf board. I had to get that line right because people have tattoos. They have, he's like, there's merch,
which is so funny that's the part he like was worried about too, out of everything with his character.
I think we should talk about Yuri on Ice a little bit more.
Yeah.
I think we should bring it around. Because, like, listen, I know there's some Yuri heads who clicked on this purely to hear us talk about Yuri on Ice. You know, because
we wish to acknowledge that there should be more Yuri on Ice media that has not been released to the public.
You know, they really, listen,
they really got shafted on their fandom, I guess.
The thing about it is that we were promised a bill of goods, you know what I mean? That is the Yuri on Ice movie that has yet to materialize, and it's been 10 years.
And not to like spoil the ending, but like it does end of it like a setup for a second season. It's not like a final like episode type deal.
Yuri, listen, Mappa, count your days. Listen, I understand it's like the animation style was so incredible, and it was like so like just beautifully done. Like they literally like had an actual like Olympic figure skater come in and do all of the choreography and like film them and like you know made
they
the animations from
everything.
That. And it's like they spent such attention to detail that and it was just such an engaging, like the characters are also engaging, and it's just the story's just, it's simple, but it's nice. And then, so you can't just like say like, don't worry, Ice Fantasy's coming. And then 10 years of silence. Okay.
It's so mean.
Like it's mean.
That it almost like Tin Dance as far as like, if Tin Dance like doesn't deliver anything else in the future, it'll be like, wow, that was a nice setup.
Also, you should check out our 10 Dance episode, y'all, if you haven't already.
They're not on ice, but they're dancing.
They're dancing,
and they're all boys falling in love with each other.
There's a lot of parallels. So many parallels. Gays in sport. I will say, like, I do think that the fandom around these two shows are wildly different in a lot of ways, though. And the way people are reacting to them has become somewhat problematic for one specifically, for a lot of people. And I feel what's sort of been happening is, so people who are fans of Yuri on Ice, listen, they're anime heads. They've been here for a while. Like they know the old ways. Like there are always problematic fans in every, in everything. But I feel like Yuri on Ice, because when it like first aired, like it was just on, like Crunchyroll, right? And it wasn't mass exported to the world at large. So if you didn't already know, you didn't find it organically.
I think like most, like Yuri on Ice, like the fans, it's mostly, not all, of course, but like mostly people who are already in fandoms. Yeah. Already used to fandoms and like just like the fandom of anime in general, you know?
Which is
that's not what's happening on Heated Rivalry side.
And I find it very interesting to watch sort of in an anthropological sort of way as someone who has been like ensconced in fandom since I was a very young child, because my first fandom was actually Mickey Mouse, because when I was little, I informed my mother that I was going to marry Mickey Mouse when I grew up. And then we went to Disney World, and I saw the dude dressed as Mickey, and he was fucking huge, and I was terrified. And you're like,
not marrying that boy.
Not marrying that 6 foot tall monster, okay? But then I very quickly got into Star Wars, and that was like my first, obsession. And then I've just sort of branched out obsessions. So when you start, and And that would have been, I would probably been about 7 years old when I started the fandom bit, right? And so when you start in fandom, sort of right when the internet was becoming a thing for fandoms, so it's like you very quickly learned how fandom spaces operate, like, you know, what to say and not to say. And I'm not to say it's like perfection, because there's always people who, you know, aren't reading the room. But I feel like what's happening is that people who have never been in a fandom before have found themselves in this fandom suddenly.
Yeah, and it's also people who love Heated Rivalry love it. So it's like you're already like, you're in a fandom, like newly in a fandom, and it also seems like newly in being this obsessed with the singular thing. When I'm like, that was my entire life.
And I feel like a lot of
things.
A lot of things are happening simultaneously. So, for example, there will be people who find themselves in this fandom who have never experienced queer media before, and may have ingrained heteronormative toxic situations from, you know, them that they haven't worked through yet. And so it bringing up the old, like, women are only watching it to fetishize gay men chestnut, where it's like, sure, I'm sure some are, but I think the most aren't, you know, like, I think overall, like, women who are into this liked romance before, and this is just a very good romance, right?
And it's also there is a lack of romance and rom-coms currently in media.
In addition, it's like people who don't know how fandom spaces operate, and it's almost like, I don't want to like disparage anyone. Like, I'm not calling anyone out, but it's almost like they think that their experience that they're having right now is some new unique thing, that they are the first people to ever, like, this is the first fandom to ever fandom. And it's like, I'm really happy that they have discovered something that brings their heart joy, because in this world especially, I think it's very important to find things that bring your heart joy. However, the Spock Kirk shippers would like to have a word with you about the history of fandom and fandom spaces. And to like bring it sort of like, it is known, okay? This is not like something I'm just talking to my ass for. I can't pull up articles right now for you, but if I given time, I could find them. Women are the drivers of fandoms.
Yes, that's very true.
Women,
absolutely.
If women like your...
Women and queer folks, let's just
women and queer folks are the drivers, and queer women specifically are the drivers of most fandoms. So if women and the queer community likes your thing, it will succeed. This has been shown all the way back to like Gundam. Gundam doesn't still exist because dudes were into it. No, it's because a bunch of, you know, fujoshis in Japan were like, I think these two fellas should smooch, and I am going to now draw manga, draw like doujinshis, make fan fictions, do artwork, you know, write letters about how they should make more of these shows. And Gundam Wing is, they buy all the merch, you know, and it's always sort of funny to me seeing how the like how women are sort of discounted in decision making about shows like this. Like when we were talking, you know, about how no one wanted to pick up this show, like despite the fact that the book has a huge female audience and queer audience that loved it already, like, and it was like, of course it was going to succeed. Of course, like, it was going to succeed.
It wasn't.
If you honestly, and I'm not trying to sound cocky, but if you would have asked us, like, if you gave us the numbers,
not even if you gave us the synopsis of the show,
synopsis of the show, but then like literally, it was a popular book to begin with.
It was popular.
Like, it truly
there
was.
There was already data out there to show. That's the thing, too. Like it's just easy.
A girl in one of my book clubs who has read all of these, and she loves sports romances and hockey romances and all this stuff, but she's also in, you know, Asian drama circles and stuff. And she said, one of the things with like the Heated Rivalry, how huge it became, and not everybody, because she's like, it is good. I liked the books. I liked the series. But some of the discourse is giving, I've never watched queer media before. I've never read a romance before. I've never walked in BL circles. Because she's like, it's not the best BL I've ever watched. Like, I love it, but like, I've seen better. Like, I've enjoyed something more, or maybe not better.
It's
but
kind of that like thing that they've found this thing, and they've decided that like
it's the first.
They are the first. Christopher Columbus.
Not only are they the first, it is also the first.
Yeah.
It's
like
the first. It's the only one, and they are the ones who have to share it with everyone because y'all don't know.
I feel like
they're
never heard
evangelizing.
of this. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
They're very much like evangelizing sort of a media that everyone's already aware of.
Yeah.
And it's just sort of like, girl, we get it. Like, it's great. I love this for you.
I'm so glad that you find something that like makes you happy. I really do.
It's like, but then you'll read, you'll see stories of like just sort of this run amok. Like there was in Utah, there was like a club, like a bar that was doing like a Heated Rivalry showing. And then a gay man went because he was like, I love Heated Rivalry and I would love to like chat with people. And a bunch of women got him kicked out because they were uncomfortable that he might be aroused by it. And it's like, girl, you're can't be kicking queer people.
Let's be real.
Out of a showing of media about queer people made by a gay man. You can't be doing this. Like that's psychotic thinking. But then again,
I feel like it's very similar to some of what we saw in the summer with K-pop Demon Hunters, where it became huge in non-K-pop circles. And suddenly it was like the best K-pop or the first K-pop or the only good K-pop. And you were like, whoa, like some of us have been living here. And because it's written, because the songs were written by somebody who has been writing the best K-pop for a long time. Like, this is not new. Like, is it great? Yes. Is it fun? Yes. It's not new just because you caught Christopher Columbus did. Like, it's been there. Like,
well, and things are not independent of each other, even though it seems like, the singular success of Heated Rivalry or whatever, or K-pop Demon Hunters or whatever the thing is. Yes, like it'll be a standout success of a project or something, which is great for the people involved. Like, good for them, seriously.
awesome. Yeah.
And I've also I even saw a queer person who like really got inspired in their own lives to like pursue their own dreams because of this type of a show. Like that's, so it can be wonderful. Incredibly important and meaningful for people. So like there's this huge gamut of how this affects people. But as far as like everything is connected and it doesn't come from nothing. Like, and so Heated Rivalry stands on the shoulders of course, romance books, which it came out of, but also other media. And there's also other queer media out there, both made by queer people and not queer people, but like it exists. So like go, check it out.
It's like you can't say
not just in English.
This is like the first, this project stands on its own when like a large portion of Thailand's tourism is driven by queer media and people going to visit places.
Well, like also just like indie things too. There's a lot of indie out there that is queer media that like are incredible and at the level of what you're seeing even more than what you're seeing in Heated Rivalry, but they don't have like the, backing. Like even though this still like it started small, it's still not that small. If you think about it, like you still were picked up on an actual known place. Like Crave is not like some like secret thing that nobody knows anything from and hasn't watched other like shows and loved it.
No, it's like one of the biggest Canadian streaming services out there. Like,
so they still like did pretty good, Yeah.
And it's like, even if we're taking it back, just still talking about Yuri on Ice, like if we're going to talk about the popularity of that, Yuri on Ice, apparently, according to the the town that the fake town that he's from is based upon, it attracted over 20,000 tourists from all over the world to come visit this small ass town in Japan.
A lot of people got into figure skating too.
That's kind of extra cute because in the anime, it's like that happens in the anime too. Like people get wind that Victor's in this town, like to train Yuri and all this stuff. It's like all the fans show up and like cute.
Like, and I think that if you're someone who hasn't seen Yuri on Ice, but you really liked Heated Rivalry, I think you might like Yuri on Ice for a very different reason.
Yeah, very different reason.
Different reason. But I think you might actually find a lot of joy in it because there's like the themes overlap. But also, if you're just clicking this because you're like, I love Heated Rivalry, and I've, you sat through us, basically saying, okay, calm down, fandom's been here for a while, and you're like, you know what, they're right, they have some good points, they're making, maybe I should. There's so many like similar things out there, and we primarily are Asian entertainment, hence why we brought Yuri on Ice into this, because like otherwise this episode would be out of nowhere, not have anything to do with our usual content whatsoever.
I mean, I guess technically Hudson, the actor, is really Japanese.
And the character
is Japanese Canadian. So like,
we can make it work.
We made it work. Okay, we worked it together. But like, we feel free to like reach out to us if you're like, I would love some more like queer media to enjoy.
Semantic error.
You should watch Semantic Error. Or, if you like more of a political thing, I would recommend the show Not Me is possibly one of the greatest. Or if you want sort of like a mature, like dealing with the issues of being queer in society, something like Moonlight Chicken might be something that you would like to investigate.
Well, what I want to drive home is like, for instance, if someone maybe loves Heated Rivalry, but maybe they don't even care about the sports part that much, there's just so much queer media out there to where any genre that you do love in your heart of hearts, there is going to be queer media of various sorts, books, movies, everything. It's there. There's even awesome indie games of all stripes that I've seen pop up. So like, I want to encourage people like, seek it out.
Yeah.
And
do try not just Western stuff, like literally.
There's so much out there that people who just won't read subtitles are missing out on that they would genuinely love and enjoy.
Listen,
so give subtitles
Rivalry. Like half the time, I think most people who are watching had to read subtitles. Okay,
so we believe in you.
There was a lot of French and there was a lot of Russian. There was a lot going on.
Also, if you are new to fandom, welcome. We like new fans. It's even if like you've been sort of rushed into a wave of fandom for the first time in your adult life. It's cool. Just like be real chill about it. Be inclusive of people. Don't gatekeep things.
Don't silence people.
Don't silence people. Like unless someone's being like, a piece of shit. Like if they're saying homophobic, sexist,
then silence them. You want.
Silencio, get out of here. You're not welcome. If they're being toxic, no. But like, just there's lots of people out there who want to talk about things that bring them joy just as much as you do. And like hell. Here we are. We've been doing this. We've been making a podcast for 7 years weekly because we just like talking about shit that makes us happy. And it's really easy to get caught up in sort of like weird fandom politics and like, sort of trying to make like in groups and cliques. You don't have to do that. You can just be cool.
Honestly, I mean, I feel like the more healthy way of going about doing stuff like that is diversify. Sometimes that means diversify your medium or diversify, again, the origin of maybe the country that it's coming out of. Or for instance, like, I'm just going to use myself as an example. I haven't had a lot of time in life, so I've never given a lot of time to reading Danmei novels, which would be the Chinese gay novels that exist that some of the C-dramas and things are based off of. So like I'm finally finding a little time, and so I'm I'm diversifying a bit and finally going to try to read some of the stuff that I enjoyed watching the live action of. Same thing with anime, sometimes, manga. So instead of I'm not saying you can't get deep in your fandom, but speaking as someone who has been deep in K-pop fandom enough, and kind of once you get too far into the weeds of something, it sucks the joy out of you so quickly to where it's better to back off. That doesn't mean you have to turn off the thing you love, but back off on the fandom ickies.
Yeah.
And then if you just diversify a little bit in some fashion, and you can find new stuff that you really enjoy. And I think that's it's better to balance yourself out. And I know that can be hard whenever you are fixated.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important to remember that fandom and being in a fandom is the human yearning for community, because humans are communal species, which is why individualism never works. And why people who try to sort of gatekeep and individualize fandoms ruin fandoms. So try to diversify your community. It'll meeting different people, meeting new people, learning different points of views. It will only make your life richer and better. And so if the awkward looking person who doesn't seem like they fit in at the Heated Rivalry meetup, say hi. Don't be like, that person seems weird. Just be like, that person seems nervous, and I can be a nice ambassador for how cool this fandom can be. I
think when you see people, because something like this gets so popular, and then there's so many, it gets into think pieces and all this stuff. And look at where these think pieces are coming from. Look at where these opinions are coming from. Is, what's
the angle? What are they trying to
One
push?
Of the ones that I've seen a lot around Heated Rivalry is the same discourse that we've been seeing for years around the Thai BLs, is that it's written by women, for it's not about, but often with the BLs that are based off of stories written by women, they're being produced and directed by gay men. So there's something in the story that is speaking to somebody, and then they're presenting it to the world. So there was a lot of well, it's not really gay media because Rachel Reed is a woman. And it's Jacob Tierney is a gay man. So,
he's a gay man.
And he read her
so
books,
and he felt strongly enough about the story.
He loves hockey.
And as far as when people start policing who is also allowed to enjoy these things, I want to just shout out the fact that no one actually knows someone else's sexuality or gender, inner thoughts, or anything like that.
Out for you, so they can watch the thing.
No one needs to come out.
Women writing BLs, you don't know if they're queer women or not.
Well,
Rachel they're Reed even women.
She has come out as queer. She's bi,
but
and her spouse is also
it's
queer.
no one's
business.
But that doesn't I keep seeing that brought up as she's allowed, and it's no. She was allowed to write what she writes. Regardless
anyone's allowed to write anything.
It's how funny is it that you're not talking about males doing this with female and female relationships.
Also, see,
I've
seen that. I've seen that where it's women enjoying. I've seen women enjoying BL romance is the same as men watching lesbian porn, and I'm like, okay, first off, the purpose of a BL show and a pornographic film are two wildly different things.
Yeah.
Those are two different things.
I wasn't talking about porn. I was talking about more straight on GLs that would be written by a guy and nobody says it.
Or the fact that a lesbian love story, I'm not gonna stop them.
Well, sometimes also let's be real and honest, BLs are going to be more accepted than GLs too. So some females have to write BLs to get a story published.
Because everything when you follow the threads, it's time for the listen. For anyone who just clicked on this randomly, has never heard us, you're now in for the actual bit that the Noonas are all about.
We were already on the fandom soapbox.
Yeah.
Now we're pulling out the patriarchy
going in because all the tendrils of all of this discourse, they eventually lead down to the true evils of society, and that is the patriarchy and capitalism, and those two things and put their little hook claws in everything.
Are basically the villains of Heated Rivalry is the patriarchy and capitalism.
It's patriarchy and capitalism. So
it's weird to me for somebody who's like getting deep into the Heated Rivalry fandom to watch Heated Rivalry and to see that overwhelming sadness that we discussed as permeating it, and then to turn around and go, but you, who I don't know what goes on in your bedroom or what in your heart, you're not allowed to write.
It's crazy.
Things, and you're like,
it's crazy. Yeah. Like, listen, it's just like, that's bad thinking. That's someone who's been so twisted by patriarchy and capitalism to think that's an appropriate thing for them to think after. It's like those dummies, those little right-wing dummies who love Star Wars and think that they're the rebels. And I'm like, bitch, you the Empire.
So exhausting.
Media literacy, dead, shot, buried in the ground. Like, that's,
I've also seen, there's a Canadian woman who on Instagram that I've seen who's super into Heated Rivalry, really loves it. She's a Black woman, and she kept getting comments from other Black people in the community going, you shouldn't love this. It's so white. There's not Black people in it. You're not represented. And she's like, I'm a hockey mom with Black son who play hockey, and I'm allowed to love media even if I don't see myself in it. Like, that's
it might lead to other media.
Yeah, and also
then it would be Black hockey.
And there are
it's a weird desire sort of
series. So
now I do want to give a shout out to the fact that I've seen some folks who are actually like hockey fans who are also experiencing the Heated Rivalry stuff. So they just wanted to warn people. They're like, just people that are getting into hockey because of loving this show.
Yes.
Here's the big red flags, the difficulties of the racism, the homophobia, all the obvious things. But of course, if you're not in it, you don't know yet. It can look shiny and new and fun. Yeah. And I will say that about all fandoms, but like really they were talking about like the specific issues with like the NHL and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a problem with like a lot of sports, especially male dominated sports. And I did see, like, I saw like a video that like it was a queer woman was making where she was saying like at first she was really annoyed by how popular Heated Rivalry was because she was a big fan of women's hockey. And if you are unfamiliar with the world of women's hockey, they do not have the hockey closet for
they don't. They're all married for each other
everywhere.
And, like,
literally, like the captain of Team America and the captain of Team Canada from the first like women's hockey in the Olympics are married and they live in Montreal and have children. Like,
and they've actively like played against each other.
Like it was the joke. And so she was saying like she was so annoyed because like, women's hockey, like they have all these stories and all this. And then she's like, but then I realized when I said that to myself, women's hockey does have these stories. Yeah. You know who doesn't have any of these stories? Men's hockey and most men's sports. So she was like, so my anger at the show existing completely disappeared because she's like, because I realized women's hockey doesn't need help in the queer department. They're good. Like, they're cool. And it's
but you could definitely get more media based on that.
They definitely need more money.
And more money towards women.
Because they're not making the same amount as the guys.
Let me tell you.
Flava Flav can only fund so many
women's sports. He only has so much money. Like, it can't just be Flava Flav
really hard, but like.
But it's like, And I don't know, like, listen, I'm not a big sports head, but watching women play hockey is great. Like women's hockey and men's hockey, wildly different sports.
Really
wildly
different.
Women and queer representation within sports, like it makes, and I will say like minority racial stuff, like all those things. That's actually what makes sports like really enjoyable to me these days. Like you tell me about some awesome minority situation, I'm like, hell yeah, I'm totally interested. What's your story? Tell me your story. Like, I'm here for you, underdog.
It's, it's important to remember all the intersectionality when you're dealing with things like this, and how things, even when they seem simple on the surface, everything is more complex than it seems, So it's like,
but the thing is, you can use getting into a fandom like Heated Rivalry, like if this is your stepping stone, or if it's maybe one among some of, because it's possible that Heated Rivalry isn't necessarily people's one fandom, but it might be their kind of first media-based fandom. Because there's maybe they're into like all this other stuff, but
or
this
a
one's
fandom
like,
that has the most amount of people. Because like I think a lot of us like will find something and we like,
the niche.
There's just a handful of us, right? So, okay,
it's just me and the other 4 ghost shippers just having a good time,
But you can use this as like a starting block of, you can use it to expand what you're into, and no matter how you identify or whatever, you can use it to, check out queer makers and or all types of stuff and throw support where it's needed. Highlight those things, and
I would
make the next Heated Rivalry maybe a women's centric thing. That would be awesome.
I would love to see. There's been a lot of sort of straight male like hockey podcasts and stuff getting into like watching Heated Rivalry and being really into it and stuff. At the very least, I would love to see these guys getting into, checking out sports romances, like going and cracking some open, like, and realizing that like probably the other kinds of things that they would like to see. There's so many hockey romances, like so many. You can have shelves full of just hockey. Female, like women love women, men love men, like straight
men loving women, everything. They got MMM, they've got MMM, they've got FFM, they've got everything. Okay, whatever you're into, they got werewolves on ice skates. They've got it all. Okay, you can find it.
I was watching one of those podcasts, and these guys doing their, they were watching and doing, their reactions and stuff. And the one guy is just like he's crying before the kiss even happens. He, like Scott starts skating over, and he's like, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do the thing. That's a guy who's already in rom-com.
That's a guy who hasn't realized that he's a romance head.
Romance girly. He's a romance girly.
He's a romance girly, and he don't know it yet.
No, I think he does though. Like that guy does. His buddy who's like getting excited for it, but doesn't know what's gonna happen. He hasn't been into romance yet.
He hasn't discovered the true love.
Right?
That is a good.
Like knows what's coming. He's watched a few rom-coms before. I see you, bro. Like
there's something like even and I Jessie, I think you'll agree when I say this, because Jessie is not the biggest. Like she doesn't like rom-coms, but every once in a while there's a romance, and it's just like you're like
it hits.
It hits.
Like even if you're not into romance, you're just like.
There is always going to be one for everyone.
But also the same can be said for other genres too. So like, sometimes, like maybe not usually horror, but then there'll sometimes be, that one hit. Like, that one got
something about this. Like I clicked play on a whim, or like it auto played, and suddenly I was into it. Like, but I didn't get into verticals because I was like, I'm going to consciously make a choice to watch low budget Chinese media. It so played on me, okay? And I was like, what's this now?
But I think using fandom to like expand your interests and expand your worldview, and then your support of intersectionality and things like use it for good. Use your fandom for good is all we have to say. And just know that you don't have to stay in one this stuff is not exclusive.
You can be in many.
As much as your heart
arms
can
are open
hold.
wide. And you know, if you want to be in the Noonas fandom, we have 7 years of episodes all about Asian entertainment that you could be listening to if you're randomly here and you like the vibes of what you just experienced. They're on YouTube. They're on audio situations. They're also all on our website, certifiednoonas.com. Yeah, ladies, did you like my segue this time?
Very nice. Very nice.
Is that a good one? Certifiednoonas.com. It's our website. We you know, I update it every week with every episode. Every episode you can.
And we have a lot
of
of episodes about BLs and and stuff. So if you are new and you're trying to like expose, we have lists. We've got episodes.
You can
have got your back.
You can check the search bar on the website and you can just type in BL.
and things will appear. You can just put in LGBTQIA, LGBTQ plus. I've tagged them. You can find them. And if you're like, the spirit really moves you and you're like, I really wish I could help them pay for their web hosting and their microphone equipment, you can go to patreon.com/certified Noonas to join the certified found family, who are our found family on the web, which is also, for anyone new here, one of our favorite tropes is the found family. That's why we called the people on Patreon that. They're a little fan family web. We have a movie night. We have little mini episodes, little extras just for them. You know, we have a good time. And they've been supporting us for so many years, and we love them so much. And that's about it. And we hope that you have a great week. Right now, like as of the day that we're recording this, I know that the weather where we all are sucks balls. Yeah. It's terrible. I'm actually in Montreal. Heated Rivalry fan. Whoop, whoop. I live there. And it is nasty as hell the day that we're recording. It's been snowing and like sleeting nonstop. And I wanted a bag of chips, but I was like, I ain't going to the store today. No storm chips for old Natalia. But as we always say, you should, look after your health and the health of those around you. So, take care of yourselves. And by doing so, by, wearing a mask, carrying around hand sanitizer, washing your hands and stuff. As always, just keep enjoying maybe some queer romance-related Asian entertainment. Anyway, we hope you have a great week. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.